Before my life fell apart, it felt like a suburban dream. I had a successful business, loved my daughters deeply, and believed in my strong marriage. My wife and I had been together for 14 years, and despite the usual ups and downs, I thought we were solid. Then her betrayal hit me like a freight train. Discovering Charlene's infidelity shook me to my core. I stumbled upon the first clue on a normal day, a message on her phone, a guilty look, and suddenly my world was upside down. Confronting her led to more lies and eventually, her painful admission. A 1973 Johnny Taylor song feels like it was written for my life now. It talks about a man facing alimony or jail after leaving his family. For me, alimony was inevitable since Charlene was unemployed, and child support was a given for my cherished daughters. If Charlene wanted to be vindictive, she could claim half of my business. Leaving my attorney's office, I felt despondent. Charlene was 3 steps ahead of me. I've been doing it for 8 months. He's a good lover, not better or bigger, just different. Think hard before doing anything. See a lawyer. Your life would be hell if we split. I'd make sure of it. Who was this woman? She wasn't the wife I'd trusted for 14 years. I won't have to sneak around now. You'll still get most of my time and affection, but I won't neglect Jim. I'll work out a schedule. I walked out as she followed, screeching until she saw our neighbor, Mrs. Roseman. Charlene hissed, "Get your bum in here, now." She watched as I drove away and stayed gone for 2 days. When I returned, her smirk almost made me leave again. The girls were all over me, so I stayed. After bedtime, Charlene brought me a beer. I put it on the table. "I'm glad you came to your senses. We'll go on like before, but I'll be on a date one night each weekend. I'll be home late, but don't worry the girls." I cut her off with a speech I'd rehearsed. Who said I came to my senses? Here's what's going to happen. I'll stay until Marissa turns 18. Then I'm gone. Darcy will be 16 and might choose to live with me. Either way, I'm gone. I continued before she could react. Effective now, I'm done with you. Even if you drop the other guy, I won't share your bed. I'm moving to the spare bedroom. I have my own needs and won't remain celibate. You better get a job or have your lover support you. The girls get anything they want, but you won't see another penny from me. Charlene went pale and then livid. You pig. I still love you and want to share your bed. Things will remain as they are. Now get ready for bed. She dropped her sundress, standing in thigh-highs and heels. She was beautiful, despite her age and having 2 kids. If this lover thing doesn't work out, you'd be a hit at Patterson in Maine, I said, referring to the town's red light district. She snatched her dress from the floor, sputtering with rage. All right, if that's how it's going to be. Just remember, 3 months from now, when you come begging for pity's ex, you'll have to lick his juice out of me first. She stormed off to the bedroom and locked the door. After a few minutes, I kicked it open. She was on the bed with her phone. She dropped it in fright, and I snatched it up. "Hello, got your number now. Soon I'll have your address. Maybe we'll discuss what we have in common. Don't worry, having my cheating wife is punishment enough. Surely you don't want a permanent relationship with her knowing she'd cheat on you, too." He hung up, and I pocketed the phone. Charlene started to protest when the girls arrived. They asked about the broken door. "Oh, it was sticking. I'll fix it tomorrow. Go back to bed." Once they left, I told her, "I'll keep your phone until tomorrow and check your accounts. Good night." She hissed, "Good luck. My accounts are locked tighter than Fort Knox." I grinned, remembering the keystroke recorder on our computer. Soon the printer was spewing out all her emails, searches, and purchases from the past year. I found lingerie shots and a video of her with a toy. Her lover worked for the county as a permit supervisor, and they met when she picked up the permit for my workshop. I locked away the printouts, sent the files to my office computer, and went to bed surprisingly well. The next morning I made breakfast for the girls while they chatted about school, boys, and music. After a while, I dropped the bomb. "Sorry, girls, I have new work responsibilities. Mom will be your main chauffeur since she doesn't work." Charlene fumed, but told the girls they'd sometimes need to ride with friends. "Why? You have all morning, right, girls?" They agreed. "Yeah. Carol's mom is creepy, and Jenny's dad stares at us. Please, Mom." Charlene was stuck, fuming until they left. Her afternoon trysts would have to change. She started as soon as the bus left. "If you think—" "That's the difference between us. I think. All your thoughts seem centered between your legs. Better start using your head if you want a chance with your kids. One more thing. The house is wired for sound and video. Bring him here, and it'll be online in an hour. Have a crappy day." She was still trying to speak when I walked out the door. At lunch, I watched the videos of her fuming and searching for the cameras. Good luck finding them. Even I didn't know their locations. The installer had suggested it that way, so I wouldn't give them away. I listened to some interesting phone calls, too. First, she called her lover. "He's being a total idiot, baby. He ruined our afternoons and cut off my money. My cards are canceled, and there's only $280 in the bank with a $200 bill due today. We may need Plan B." He seemed uncomfortable. "Before we do that, let's give him a few days to cool off. If we leave now, I'll be in as much trouble as your husband. Keep trying to calm him down. Maybe give up the backdoor thing. I've trained you well." She wasn't pleased. "So much for love. How am I supposed to suggest that? The moment I bring it up, he'd know you've been there." "Your undying love is starting to sound like crap," he protested. "I do love you, but we need to be practical. If we leave our spouses, everyone will know why and we'll be broke. This way we stay in nice houses. Let's meet at lunch for now." "Where? I can't pay for a motel, and I'm not screwing you at your office." "Let's do it at your house and leave the evidence for him to see." "Bad idea. He says the house is wired. If we meet here, it'll be online in an hour." And I believe him. "Okay, let's stop for now and let him calm down. You can still screw your husband. At least you won't be without." Things got heated, and after the call she looked confused. Reality was sinking in. Later, I saw her at the computer, realizing I'd locked her out. "You pig!" she screamed. After 15 minutes of cursing, I called her. "Hi, honey," I said sarcastically. "Having a good day? Stop messing with the computer. It's locked up tighter than Fort Knox. Your phone will be shut off by the end of the day, but a new one will arrive tomorrow. Hope you like it." "You bet," she started before I hung up. My friend had installed cutting-edge surveillance gear while she was with her lover. She actually smiled when I gave her the new phone, but it had a safety feature that limited calls to essential numbers. When she tried calling her lover, it reset after 30 seconds. I called her. "Hi, honey. Figured out the phone yet? It only works for preset numbers. Hard to contact your lover now, isn't it? Since you have free time, why not get a job? You'll need it. I'll buy anything the kids need, but you're on your own." I hung up before she could respond. It was frosty at home. She barely controlled herself around the girls. Once they were asleep, she screamed and threatened me in the basement until she ran out of steam. I just grinned, deciding to change tactics. She got all weepy. "Please, honey, stop being mean to me. I don't deserve it. I didn't plan this. It just happened. He's just a fling. Sooner or later, we'll tire of each other, and I'll be back to loving just you. It didn't hurt you until you found out, and it won't hurt you now. It's just a few hours a week. The rest of the time, I'm yours, totally. Come to bed with me tonight, and I'll show you how much I still love you." I think I shocked her when I laughed. "You know, I looked up cheating excuses online. There's a book called The Cheater's Guide. It offers advice on how to conduct affairs and damage control if the spouse finds out. You've used a lot of the excuses. It just happened. It won't affect us. It's just a fling. It'll be over soon, and the offer of hot Zex to make me forget. And the best one threatened to destroy his world unless he goes along." Conflicting emotions crossed her face. Before she could speak, I continued. "Let's stop for a minute. Say I go along with your plan. What's in it for me? I still pay all the bills and do all the things a married person does. But I have to share you. It doesn't sound like much of a deal for me, does it? You get to screw someone else while I wait. Not happening. Since you've declared an open marriage, I'll be looking too. There's a cute sales rep who flirts with me. She's a gym rat with an incredible body. When she comes in next week, I'll take her to lunch and see if she's interested. I'll explain we have an open marriage and you've had a lover for almost a year. She seems liberal enough. And honestly, waiting to use your body isn't worth it, especially knowing it's been used beyond its miles." The comment about the rock-hard body hurt her. After 2 kids, she was rounder and softer than when we married. All she had to do was go to the gym instead of the mall, but that wasn't happening. She seemed shocked. "Why would you need anyone else when I'm available?" "I still love you, and the thought of you with anyone else upsets me." I replied, "I've been available for 16 years, but that wasn't enough for you. You think I was happy finding out you cheated? There's a word for guys who let their women screw others while staying faithful." Just like there's a name for women who cheat on their husbands. The Bitch Cook Express has officially been derailed. Think on that. I'm going to bed. At least one of us has to work. She was still sputtering as I walked out. I knew I needed a plan fast before she really did try to mess up my life. I had an old friend who was a bit socially awkward, and a computer savant. If anyone could help, it would be him. He'd been designing computer games since he was 14, and now, in his mid-30s, he was worth over $60 million and rolling in money. Oddly, he was married to another high-functioning autistic woman I introduced him to a few years back at a party. She was the daughter of one of my biggest customers and normally a recluse. She insisted her father bring her to the party, feeling something important would happen. She was stunningly beautiful, and, upon meeting Harry, took his hand and said, "June 17th. He nodded and announced their upcoming wedding to the guests. "Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct pleasure to invite you all to our wedding on June 17th at Emmanuel Lutheran Church on 2nd Street in Broadville," he said, flushing a bit as she introduced herself. "I'm June Allison, and we met right here at this party." That was the whole story. She just didn't mention it happened right then, at the party. She told him the ring she wanted, and the next day he gave her a credit card. They've been together 8 years now, with a 7-year-old daughter my girls doted on. It wasn't unusual to find a Lexus SUV in the driveway, with the driver chatting with Charlene. She would brighten up when I came in, making sexual innuendos. Shauna, a very attractive ex-military black woman, served 2 combat tours and held black belts in 3 disciplines. She worked for me and was brilliant, though often bored. June visited one day and, while waiting for me, talked with Shauna. By the time I finished my meeting, I had lost an employee. Shauna moved into a small apartment in Harry and June's mansion. She was bored until a crackhead tried to kidnap their daughter, Star. Shauna stopped him, earning a role as Star's bodyguard nanny. Charlie frowned at our playful flirting, but Shauna always gave me a big hug when they left, making the girls giggle. My girls vacationed with them a few times to exotic places. Charlene always found a reason for us to stay home. The photos, especially of Aunt Shauna in a string bikini, were impressive. Except for Charlene, our families were close, and I trusted them completely. Harry was surprised, but June saw it coming. I noticed she seemed distracted and caught her sitting close to another guest at our last party. She pulled back when she saw me and stuck to you the rest of the evening. I wanted to say something, but it wasn't enough. I remembered that night. Charlene had suddenly appeared and stayed by my side the rest of the evening. Harry and June had been thinking about my problem. "What exactly do you want, Jack?" Harry asked. "I want to keep my girls in my life and make her regret her actions. When she realizes what she's done, it will get ugly. I don't want to end up broke and alone." Nodding, he asked about the house. We had a 4,400 square foot house in an older neighborhood. We got it for 60% of the usual cost and spent years restoring it. The basement, almost 1,100 square feet, was untouched. "Remodel it, Jack. Make it a nice apartment with a separate driveway and electrical panel. Then move in. If you divorce, you'll have your own space and full access to your children. A judge would likely support the plan, especially for the kids." Why didn't I think of that? Because I'm an average guy, not a savant with a sky-high IQ, I said, contemplating my own limitations. Shauna offered another option. I could kick her bum or his teeth in, better yet kick his balls up his throat. I could screw up their lives without it ever being connected to you. Wow. Talk about fire. Let's keep that as plan C, Shauna. I wouldn't mind her feeling some pain, but she is the mother of my children. Let's stick to our first plan, I said. She reluctantly agreed before checking on the kids. She has a crush on you, Jack. Be careful. Now that you're almost single, she's thinking all sorts of things, June said. I was surprised. I always liked Shauna, but didn't know she felt that way. The house was in my name, as I was the only one earning when we bought it. I consulted contractors and architects, until I found a plan I liked. On my lawyer's advice, I eased up on Charlie, giving her an allowance for lunches and shopping. I also installed a GPS and anti-theft system in her Mercedes, which allowed me to shut down the engine remotely. One day her lunch ran long, and I saw she was heading to her lover's place. I shut the car down. She called me in a panic. "Jack, the car cut off and won't start. I'm stuck," she said frantically. "Where are you?" I asked, already knowing the answer. She hesitated before admitting, "I'm across town." "What are you doing there?" I pressed. "I was going to drop by Beverly's." We went shopping and I left a bag in her car, she replied quickly. Isn't Beverly at work? I questioned. Yes, but she left the bag in the garage, she said, her voice faltering. Try the car again, Charlie. I bet it starts right up. It did, but shut down again after 5 blocks. When she called back, I told her to head home. She figured it out after 2 more shutdowns. Later, I recorded her screaming tirade, including telling Marissa to get out when she tried to calm her. The hurt look on Marissa's face cooled her down, but the damage was done. Things were tense between them. When Charlie asked about the basement, I said it was time to fix it up for the girls, who needed more space. She thought I was accepting her lifestyle. She used her allowance to buy a burner phone, which I bugged. Her lover wasn't pleased with their disrupted plans to leave their spouses. Maybe we should call it off for now. He's not reacting like we hoped, and I'm afraid he'll do something drastic. Her lover scoffed. He's a chicken. You have him by the balls because of the kids. He won't do anything to hurt them. Maybe not, but we're fair game. He can be ruthless at work. If this gets out, you'd be out of a job. Have you told your wife you're leaving her? Silence. I thought not. Man up. Tell her before my husband does. Just because he hasn't gone after you yet doesn't mean he won't. He'll hit you where it hurts the most. I don't want to see you for a month. We need to think, and I have to repair my relationship with my husband. If we split up, I want him in a forgiving mood. I'm serious. A month. I'll call you when I'm ready. They just handed me a gift. A whole month to finalize my plans. I set up a meeting with the county commission chairman who knew my father from business. We met at an upscale steakhouse out of town. After ensuring he had a good meal and a few drinks, I got down to business. I'm thinking about moving my business, Fred. Hanover County is offering some attractive tax incentives and has suitable empty buildings, I said, laying out my thoughts. Fred frowned at the thought of 89 jobs leaving his county, especially with my recent expansion requiring 30 more workers. It wouldn't look good, especially in an election year. Why would you do that? The county has always had a good relationship with you. But with the economy the way it is now, we can't grant any concessions, Fred replied, his concern evident. I'm not after concessions. The property I want needs to be rezoned, which might be difficult, especially when it comes to permits, I explained. Why? The rezoning notices have gone up and no one has objected. It should be a rubber stamp procedure. Why do you think there'll be trouble with the permits? Fred asked, puzzled. Because your permits and zoning manager is sleeping with my wife, and he knows I know, I said bluntly. Fred looked deflated. The scandal would be messy, affecting all county departments. Our local investigative reporter would pounce on it. Fred stared at his steak, the meal now sitting heavy. You sure? Fred asked, his voice filled with disbelief. I have video and audio, including footage of him jacking off in his office, I confirmed. What do you want? Fred asked, ready to negotiate. His resignation would be nice. Aside from that, nothing for now. I have some home remodeling plans that need approval, ideally without him knowing, I stated. I'll look into it. The county can send him to a training seminar for 3 days. Will that work? Fred suggested. That would be nice, Fred. After the elections, I'll expose him. You have time to remove him before I start, I concluded. We parted knowing our relationship had changed forever. He would dread any future meetings. Another relationship ruined thanks to Charlie. The contractor started the remodeling the next day while the zoning manager was at a seminar. Charlie showed little interest, likely preoccupied. She did try to mend our relationship, giving a long speech about boredom and feeling less appealing. She claimed her affair was a mistake and wouldn't happen again. Really? What happens when the girls grow up and you're bored again? Instead of having an affair, you could have volunteered, joined a book club, or gotten a job. You chose a Zex buddy instead. How's that working for you? Our relationship is dying, and it's just a matter of time. Think about life post-marriage because it will happen. She ran crying from the room. For weeks, she was a model wife and mother. We even took a long weekend trip to Disney. The only issue was bedtime. I booked a room with 2 beds, making it clear we wouldn't share. She tried everything to seduce me, but I refused, even pushing her out of bed one night. That triggered her anger, and she started hinting at divorce. I served her with legal separation papers, knowing it would be ugly. I took the girls to the park and explained that their mother and I were not getting along, and I would be moving to the basement apartment. They cried and begged me to stay, but I reassured them. I won't be far, my babies. I could never live without you. I'm moving to the basement apartment. Technically, I'll still be in the house, but completely autonomous. Here are your keys. Don't let your mother get her hands on them." They smothered me with kisses, happy I would still be around 24/7, though sad about the split. I cheered them up by promising a shopping spree on Saturday to decorate their room. Not knowing what awaited, I sent the girls to the basement to check out their room when we got home. When Charlie met me at the door, screaming, I knew I made the right decision. She was so loud the neighbors called the cops. Following my lawyer's advice, I stayed outside, showing the officer my separation papers. When she asked what sparked the argument, I quickly clarified. Yes, I got them drawn up to ensure things progress smoothly. It's over infidelity, hers, not mine. I can show you video and pictures if needed, I said. The officer looked at Charlie, who turned red. So what? That doesn't give him the right to abandon me and our children, Charlie retorted angrily. Officer, please follow me, I requested. I led her to the privacy-fenced apartment. Charlie followed, but the officer asked her to stay outside for a moment. Inside, we found the girls huddled on the bed, crying. I comforted them. Shh now. Mom's just having a bad day. I'm sure she's calmed down by now, right, officer? I said gently. The officer nodded, smiling at the girls. Your dad's right. She's much calmer now. We'll go talk to her some more, the officer reassured them. Outside, she said to me, It must suck to be you right now, but you did the right thing for your girls. Always put the children first. Charlie was calmer when we returned. I love you, and this is tearing me apart, she said, her voice breaking. The officer advised, Put the welfare of the children first. How you act will influence how they see you both. It's just a separation, not a divorce yet. You need a lawyer for more advice. Good luck. After the officer left, Charlie hissed, Living room now. She stomped inside, and I went back around, locking my gate behind me. The basement had 2 deadbolts and 3 safety latches. She'd need a battering ram to get through. The soundproofing ensured we wouldn't hear her if she screamed. The girls stayed with me until bedtime. I assured them Mom was fine and called her once they left. Listen, the girls are coming through the front door. How you act now will determine your future relationship with them. Think of them, I advised. I hung up. The girls never called, so it must have been quiet. Charlie got a lawyer, maxing out the card I left her, and arranged an expedited hearing with a judge. Mr. Sayers, why did you file separation papers? The judge inquired. Because, Your Honor, my wife has been involved with another man for at least 9 months. She told me she won't end the affair and I'd have to live with it. I didn't want to expose our daughters, 11 and 13, to this lifestyle. If my wife disputes this, I have video and audio proof, all legally obtained, I explained. The judge looked at Charlie, who hung her head. She turned back to me, almost smiling. I hear you moved out. How far are you from your daughters? The judge asked. 26 steps, ma'am. I remodeled our basement into an apartment, completely separate from the house. I only enter by invitation, and my wife has the same restriction, I replied. She turned to Charlie. Mrs. Sayers, you need to reflect on your recent choices. If this were a divorce, I'd recommend counseling. This is just a trial separation. I see no legal basis to rescind it. The separation stands. After 90 days, he can renew it, drop it, or file for divorce. I wish you both the best of luck, the judge declared. We were ushered out of chambers and found ourselves in the parking lot. You're really angry, aren't you? Charlie asked. What a stupid question. Yes, I'm angry, but more than that, I'm sad. I always thought we'd be together until one of us passed, holding the other's hand. Now I know that won't happen. My anger makes me want to say I wasted my years with you, but we have the girls. So it wasn't a waste, I responded, feeling a mix of emotions. I got in the car before she could respond. I saw her in my rearview mirror, crying violently. In the past, I would have comforted her, but now I just sighed and drove away. For the next 3 weeks, we coexisted, her upstairs, me down. Charlie was upset when the girls refused to let her into my apartment, but they held firm. One day, I knocked on her door. She seemed surprised to see me. Follow me. The girls have been learning to cook on the grill and made us dinner. Don't screw this up for them. She followed quietly. The girls, in big aprons and chef hats, hugged her and took her to our picnic table. They had made roast chicken, grilled veggies, corn on the cob, and a tomato salad. They even made cheesecake. Charlie praised the girls' cooking and helped clear the dishes. Echo showed her the apartment, including their room. Marissa often slept downstairs, while Echo stayed upstairs except on weekends. I let the girls use the man cave for gaming. On Fridays and some Saturdays, they had friends over for sleepovers, with boys staying until their moms picked them up. Sometimes it was Charlie, but usually it was pizza or the girls grilling burgers and hot dogs. Summer was coming, so I bought an above-ground pool, making the girls more popular. Most parents knew about our living arrangements, but didn't comment. Some moms hinted at or suggested dating me. I thanked them and promised to think about it if I was ever single. This annoyed Charlie, especially when they did it in front of her. She scolded me one night after everyone left. "What were you thinking? That woman practically sat in your lap. Do you know how embarrassing that was for me?" Not really. Was it as embarrassing as finding out your spouse was cheating with friends helping? I told you I wasn't planning on staying celibate. Did you know she has 3 tattoos? One very naughty? Good thing it can't be seen except when she's undressed. Allison was a big flirt, and I knew about the tattoo from a pool party. Charlie looked shocked. I wasn't planning to give her ammo for the divorce, but it felt good to annoy her. I avoided contact with Charlie, though I still monitored her calls and videotaped her daily life. Going from 2 lovers to none for 3 months was hard on her. She had a big toy collection I didn't know about. After she got her release, she often cried herself to sleep. She still had her burner phone, unaware I'd bugged it, and I'd lifted the restrictions on her regular phone. When a telemarketer called, she quickly called everyone to check it worked. She thought I was softening, but it was the end of our marriage. If she had thought about it, the fact that I no longer cared if she talked to her lover would have given her a clue. The elections came and went. The county manager retired, and the new appointee promised to cut the county budgets. Bob was quietly let go. He complained to the manager and appealed to the commissioners, who showed him a clip of his explicit behavior in his office. "Bob, the holder of this video has threatened to go public and sue the county. To make it go away, we'll fire you without recommendation. If we don't, we'll be embarrassed, probably pay a settlement, and make sure you're charged for as much as possible. Your career prospects would be 0. Walk away." Bob had no choice and disappeared from the local scene. Charlie called me, torn between anger and remorse. "Did you have to do that? He has young children. How will he support them?" Charlie asked, her voice quivering with emotion. "He should have thought of that before screwing you. His wife has a good job now, and child support will help," I replied firmly. "His wife is a stay-at-home mom," Charlie protested. "Not anymore. She has a degree in accounting, and I hired her," I stated, leaving no room for argument. Bob's wife, a cheerful woman, was devastated. "What will I do now? His was the only income. How will I care for my children?" she asked, her voice breaking. Her oldest was at school, and her 3-year-old climbed all over me while I tickled her. "You'll work for me. Even if you don't, I'll help you. It's not my fault he betrayed your marriage, but I feel responsible. This is a no-strings-attached offer. My kids know, but it still affects them. If you want to leave him, you have my prayers. It all seemed too smooth to be his first time." "If you divorce, I can't help with evidence," I explained, trying to offer some comfort. She fought back sobs as she held her daughter. 3 days later, she called in a tight voice. "He wasn't going to tell me he was fired for an affair until I confronted him. He almost struck me, but I dared him, saying the bruises would land him in jail. He stormed out. I cleaned out the account so he has no running money." "Is the job offer still open?" she asked, determination in her voice. She started part-time the next week, working from home half the time. My staff noticed when Charlie's picture disappeared from my desk, replaced by more of the girls and me. They offered cautious condolences, all except one. Misty hated Charlie, who accused her of flirting with me at a company party. Misty left in tears, and I scolded Charlie. The next morning, sober, I realized this was just after she started her affair with Bob. I had to threaten to cut her off financially for a month before she apologized to Misty. Misty accepted, but their hugs were tense. Misty grinned when she came into my office. "I heard the news. Fire me if you want, but I'm glad you're done with that witch." She was always mean to the women here. "We used to talk about who would go after you first. I used to deal cards at casinos in college. If I get the chance, those other hussies won't stand a chance. I like romantic movies, French food, and long, slow massages with warm-scented oils." Misty was a confident redhead, always dressing to get noticed without breaking office rules. She was 12 years younger than me and in a serious relationship. I figured she'd marry soon. and I'd promised to walk her down the aisle and help with the honeymoon, so I knew she wasn't serious. I shocked her by bantering back. Since we're alone, I might just take you up on that. I've always wondered if your carpet matches your drapes. Her hand flew to her mouth, and she giggled as she fled to the door. Turning back, she said, "It would match, but I took the carpet up. I like smooth floors better. If you don't believe me, ask Jerry." I promised it would be our first topic of conversation next time, and she laughed all the way down the hall. It made me grin the rest of the day, lightening my mood. The other ladies noticed, and Misty must have told them because they'd cheer me up when I got moody or angry. I knew it was out of control when our 60-year-old receptionist asked how I felt about shag carpet. Meanwhile, Charlie was desperate, alone, with no lover or husband, and only lunches with friends. After I almost ruined her best friend's marriage by telling her husband about the affair, none of her friends would discuss her situation or help her. A month later, Charlie showed up at my door, begging me to talk. I considered several cruel responses before letting her in. She looked around cautiously. "Beer?" I offered. She nodded, so I poured her one. "What is this?" she asked, inspecting the drink. "Imported. If you don't like it, I have other varieties," I replied, trying to keep things civil. "Have you turned into a lush?" she questioned, a hint of disdain in her voice. 3.5 minutes, and she already pissed me off. "No, I prefer quality over quantity now. These are sipping beers. It usually takes me 2 weeks to finish a 12-pack. The girls enjoy craft sodas and exotic fruit flavors. What about you? Been hitting the wine harder?" I knew she was drinking almost a bottle a night. She blushed, surprisingly honest. "Yes, it helps with the lonely nights, but I'm cutting back," she admitted. "Why be lonely? Your lover is semi-single. Go out and play," I suggested, trying to hide my irritation. "Wouldn't that bother you?" she asked, searching my face for a reaction. "No more than when you did it while we were together. Now you're legally separated and he's divorcing, so there's less stigma," I responded, my voice steady. She looked down in shame. "We haven't been together in a while. The thrill is gone. The sex was good when it was a secret, but now it's not satisfying." Bob was gone, working in a small county half a state away, earning less than before. His child support was still based on his old income, straining his finances. They'd have to drive 3 hours to see each other. She said, "He's out of the picture. The thought of being with him again makes me sick. He wasn't worth what he cost me." "He didn't cost you anything, Charlie. You did that when you threw him in my face and threatened me." She started to sob, which annoyed me. "Stop it, Charlie. Crying won't fix this. Why did you come here? What do you want?" She looked determined. "I want you back. I want you to hold me, nibble my ear, and tell me everything will be fine. I want us and the girls together, wrapped in quilts, eating popcorn, making fun of movies until they fall asleep holding us. I want to feel loved again, not empty. I'm begging for a fresh start." She sighed, got up, and said, "Think about it. Before I go, will you hug me?" She looked lost, so I hugged her, letting her cry on my shoulder. She finally pulled back, thanked me, and left. I sat on the couch until Marissa came in asking about dinner. I pointed at the menus by the fridge. "Pick." She called Darcy, and they debated between Chinese, fried chicken, pizza, or burgers, finally choosing Creole. "Call your mom, see if she wants to join us." Darcy returned with Charlie. They debated until I reminded them to call soon or it would be too late. They picked it up and came back with a movie, asking if we could watch it in the man cave. After dinner, I watched them chatter and taste from every plate. Darcy ordered gator bites, which weren't bad. We all sat on the leather couch in the man cave, both kids between us like old times. They chose a romance, and I made fun of it until Darcy poked me. Both girls fell asleep, snuggled up. I saw Charlie crying softly. We kissed the girls awake and sent them home with their mother. Charlie kissed me goodnight. I sat thinking, could I trust her again? What if she hurt me again? Sleep was elusive. They found me on the couch in the man cave the next morning. I showered while they finished the movie. Charlie tried hard, cooking my favorite meals and not complaining when I didn't always accept her invitations. Her relationship with the girls got stronger, especially when school started and she took them shopping. I gave Marissa one of my cards, and Charlie, true to form, used it, even buying herself a few outfits. I didn't complain, it was less than she used to spend. She was learning to live on the budget I gave her. She surprised us by saying, "I've been thinking about my life, Jack. I think I'll take your advice and get a job or volunteer. If I do, will you watch the girls if needed? I hugged her and praised her. She was going to the gym, getting back in shape. I complimented her progress and gave her extra money for workout gear and outfits. We started sleeping together again after watching a risque movie and drinking too much wine. Sex with Charlie was always good, especially when she let go. We woke up glad the girls were with friends and had more sex. I woke to her giving me a head, what she used to hate. I made an insecure comment, and she blushed. I still don't like it, Jack. This is the first time to thank you for last night and for getting along better. I felt dumb and apologized. She smiled and ran to brush her teeth. Where do we go from here? I asked. As far as you want. If either of us gets an urge, the other will satisfy it. I haven't been with anyone but you for months. Odd. But after I cheated, I became faithful. The thought of another man touching me makes me sick. I believed her, mostly because I monitored her movements. If she was cheating, she hid it well. 2 months passed, and we shared a bed about once a week. The girls likely knew and alternated between houses, offering encouragement. Charlie got a volunteer job with a charity, helping with events. Often one or both girls went with her. Sometimes I went along, which pleased her. As it got cooler, the events moved indoors, mostly at night. I went to a few, admiring her in gowns, watching her get hit on, and pointing me out. It was fun, but it was too much to do regularly and still run my company. So I cut down to about 1 in 3. Charlie acted disappointed until I asked how she'd like getting up early, coming to work with me, then going to her job with little sleep. She usually had breakfast with us the next day, showing pictures of the events. I trusted her, thinking she had learned her lesson. The video cameras were still in place, but I stopped checking them weeks ago. We were slowly reconnecting. I believed she was truly sorry and knew the consequences if she slipped again, but complacency led to my fall. June called, inviting the kids and me for the weekend. Charlie had a 2-day event, so we wished her luck and invited her to join us. She declined, saying she'd be too tired to drive. At June's mansion, the girls quickly changed into bathing suits and headed to the pool under Shauna's watchful eye. I joined them at the pool, where June commented on how much my girls had grown. Marissa will be a beautiful woman, and when Darcy matures, she'll be a living doll. I realized my girls were growing up and joked that I needed to buy a rifle. June wore a conservative bikini, but Shauna's almost invisible bottom caught my eye. June explained Shauna's coolness towards me. Shauna's upset because she sent you signals during your troubles with Charlie and you didn't respond. She doesn't understand why you didn't cut Charlie loose. I didn't want to be as bad as Charlie. I was thinking of the kids and couldn't afford a scandal while seeking full custody. How are you and Charlie now? Much better. She exercises, is more conservative with money, and volunteers for a major charity. We have occasional sleepovers, and I have high hopes for the future. Harry sighed, and June avoided eye contact. We need to talk after the girls are asleep. My mood sank. After dinner, the girls went to watch a movie, supervised by Shauna. At the bar, Harry poured beers and June her favorite wine. After some sips, June began. We donate a lot to charities. Charlie has asked for help a few times, and we always send a check. My stomach tightened. About a month ago, we went to a black-tie dinner. Charlie was there, coordinating. She was busy, so we didn't talk. Later, I saw her again. June showed a picture of Charlie kissing a man. David Duncan, June said. He's rich and known for seducing married women. We have more pictures, all inappropriate. We told you because you're an old friend. It's up to you what to do, but we didn't want you to repeat a mistake. Most people avoid bad news, offering sympathy later. But Harry and June, true friends, spoke up, giving me time to think. If more were like them, the world would be better. I nodded, lost in thought. The first betrayal hurt, but this one, after all her promises, hit harder. Our marriage was over. I thanked Harry and June, excused myself, and went to bed. I thought I'd stay awake, but I was out like a light. At 6, I woke and reviewed my plan. The divorce was back on. I'd call the lawyer Monday. I wasn't sure when I'd tell Charlie or the girls, but I wouldn't wait long. It was time to move on. I'd stay in the basement until Marissa graduated, and maybe Darcy would go with me. If Charlie had any sense, she'd agree for the girls' sake. But she wasn't known for being agreeable. We spent the next 2 days with the girls. June wanted horses, so they built a barn and filled it. Though afraid of big animals, I joined them for a ride. June arranged a picnic by their pond, where Harry met us with fishing rods. I spent hours fishing with Harry, enjoying catch and release. While fishing, we talked business. I owed my company to Harry and June, who pushed me to start it. June's dry skin and an offhand comment inspired me. As a civil engineer specializing in water systems, I created The Wall, a shower wall with nozzles every 4 inches from knee-high to neck-high, pulsing and vibrating, dispensing soap, rinse water, and body lotion. It washed, massaged, and lotioned simultaneously. Women loved it, and it got rave reviews in magazines. Harry let me install a prototype for June, and she loved it. She showed it to her friends, and soon I had 7 orders. I initially declined, but Harry and June pushed me to start a business. Harry's lawyer got the patents and set up an LLC. We rented a small industrial building, hired 2 guys, and custom-fit walls into bathrooms, earning rave reviews. Their wealthy friends bought them, aiming to keep up with the Gates and buffets. Harry and June loaned me $500,000 to get started, and it took off. The first 2 years thrived on word of mouth and magazine write-ups. We installed our shower system for actors, athletes, singers, writers, and even 2 former first ladies. 5-star hotels added them to luxury suites. An ex-NFL quarterback had us build a portable unit for his old team, causing fights over its use. My company built large units for pro and college locker rooms across various sports. Harry ensured we got international patents, and we sued companies in France and Portugal, acquiring their assets. After my divorce, Harry suggested expanding globally, keeping the company out of Charlie's reach. I sold the company to him for a profit, continued working as a manager, and offered Charlie 60% of our assets, including the house and child support. My lawyer thought it was too generous but necessary for the girls. Charlie refused. I watched on surveillance as she was served divorce papers and photos of her with her new lover. I left her a note. I was ready to forgive you, thinking you'd changed. But once a cheater, always a cheater. The deal I'm offering is good. Read the paperwork, get a lawyer, and sign the papers. Let's not make this hard on the girls. We'll share custody until Marissa turns 18. Then Darcy can choose where to live. Don't fight this. It will cost you. Good luck in your future relationships. Charlie begged and pleaded, but I stayed firm. Her lawyer advised her to take the deal, explaining that fighting could leave her with less. Charlie countersued for mental cruelty, claiming I had affairs with Shauna and Bob's ex-wife, Brenda. Brenda threatened to sue her for slander, and Shauna warned Charlie to stop or face consequences. Shauna confronted Charlie, threatening her if she continued. Think with your head instead of your coochie. When this is over, I'm going after him. He's a good man, and I want a solid, gentle partner. We'd make adorable chocolate babies. Only warning, witch. Charlie, faced with overwhelming opposition, had no choice but to back down. She walked off, leaving Charlie gasping and looking at the stain on her jeans. I didn't hear about it until much later. Charlie stopped her actions the next day. A few weeks later, a woman I didn't know came to my office, asking to talk about my divorce. I brought her in and started recording, as I sometimes did for negotiations. She was an attractive woman, likely 10 years older but looking my age. I shook her hand and led her to the couch. I'm sorry for showing up unannounced, Mr. Sayers. I'm Barbara Duncan. I believe your wife knows my husband. It clicked. Her husband was Charlie's lover. I shook her hand again. I apologize for my wife's actions. She shook her head. It's not your fault. Both have a history of cheating. I need a favor. You have pictures and testimony I could use in my divorce. Would you share it? Give me your lawyer's name and I'll send it over. She sighed. I don't have one. He emptied the accounts, leaving me just enough for the house and our son. I called my lawyer. John, I've got another client for you. The other guy's wife. I'm paying. Here's her number. Barbara looked shocked. Don't worry. He's good at his job and I can afford it. If there's anything else I can help with, ask. She started crying. I gave her tissues and called Brenda, who was familiar with her situation. Brenda, meet Barbara. You two have something in common. My wife slept with both your husbands. I'll give you some time. 15 minutes later, I returned, and they both kissed me. I didn't see that coming. I told Barb what a nice guy you are and how I'm coming after you when the divorce is final. Now focus. Barb needs a job. She has a degree in international business relations and speaks French, Italian, and German. Looks like you found your new international marketing director. Thank me with a big bonus in my next check. Charlie had a hissy fit. What's up with you? This some kind of revenge thing? I hit my limit. Charlie, shut up. If you don't, the offer comes off the table and I'll make you fight for every bone. You destroyed these women's lives. This is on you. Don't speak to me. Contact my lawyer if you need something. The girls will tell me if they need anything. But honey, I'm sure. I interrupted. You can be sure the divorce is going through. You can be sure I'll be looking for someone else before the ink dries. The girls need a positive female role model. Go ruin more marriages and send the women to me when you're done. Goodbye, Charlie. My rage scared her. She backed into a corner, wide-eyed and silent. I left without closing the door. The girls hated it. They found out despite my efforts to shield them. They didn't see their mother for 3 weeks before I convinced them to spend a weekend with her. She's still your mother. She didn't betray you, and she still loves you. If you don't want to stay, come back. Do it for the family. Darcy, at 11, sighed. We'll go. But you're wrong, Dad. She betrayed us too, and took away a normal family. It will never be the same. We do things with you, with her, but never together again. Share memories. Love you, Dad. She hugged me and walked away. When did kids get so smart? We might need therapy. It took 11 months and 600 grand from the settlement before she gave up. She asked for an hour before signing the papers. I called her. What can you say to change anything? If you're sorry, I accept. Otherwise, sign the papers. No more drama. Darcy was now 12 and a half, blossoming into a rare beauty. Marissa, almost 15, looked like a 20-year-old model. People still came over for pool and man cave parties. When the boys showed up, mothers watched closely. Charlie never offered to come. I was still paying all the bills and would until the youngest went to college. I changed the petition. Instead of Charlie getting the house, it would be sold and the profits split evenly. Charlie would still have enough to live comfortably if careful. The ink wasn't dry on my divorce papers when Brenda came after me. I gently stopped her. I'd love to, Brenda, but you work for me. If it didn't work out, it could get awkward, I said, trying to maintain professionalism. I'll quit. You'll get my resignation in 5 seconds, Brenda retorted, her determination clear. I laughed. You love your job and no one will pay you what I do, I pointed out, hoping to dissuade her. I could marry the bank, she teased. You could, but it would take time. If it ever happens, please stop, I replied, trying to keep the conversation light. She sighed. Well, I had to try, and I wore a string today just for you. They're uncomfortable. I looked at her, deciding between being shocked and laughing. She grinned, reached under her skirt, shimmied, and handed me a scrap of black lace. Here, a memento of what you turned down. It feels good to get that thing off. Think about me the rest of the day, knowing I'm commando under this skirt, she said, her eyes sparkling with mischief. She twirled at the door, her skirt billowing, giving a glimpse of her bum cheeks as she left. Smiling, I put the string in my desk drawer. Barbara took her shot. I'm not interested in a relationship. I just need to be laid. Seriously laid. It's been almost a year, and I'm tired of buying batteries. Help a girl out. I knew she was flying to France the next morning. Keep control, Barb. Maybe you'll find a Frenchman and fall in love. Or lust. Either way, there's a Pierre or Jean-Claude out there looking for you. She sighed. Good thing I talked to Brenda. I'm not wearing a string. In fact, I'm not wearing anything under this dress. Give you any ideas? Lots and lots. None of them good. Leave me alone. I'm still dealing with being really unmarried. Brenda met another accountant, and they're still together. Barbara moved to Nice with a Frenchman, and now leads our European division. I spent about 9 months dating, realizing everything still worked. Nothing special happened except physical pleasure. Harry and June supported me, and I visited them with the girls. Shauna moved on, which disappointed me a bit. 13 months after the divorce, Charlie got engaged to a guy from her volunteer work. After her affair and our divorce, I suggested she find another job, and she did. I met her fiancé a few times. He seemed decent and hadn't been married before. I wondered if she was honest about her past, but it wasn't my business. The girls liked him. He had a sense of humor and took them out while their mom worked. I didn't feel threatened and was glad they were adjusting. Then they came home sad. Josh is out of our lives. He broke off the engagement. Do you know why? Seriously, Dad, it's Mom. What do you think happened? I was comfortable speaking to Charlie if we ran into each other, but I didn't encourage her. I removed all the surveillance equipment since it wasn't my business anymore, though I was tempted to turn it back on. Did she act the same with Josh as with me? Thankfully, I resisted the urge. 17 months after the divorce, I came home to find Shauna visiting the girls. Marissa, now 16, was excited about the new Jeep I got her. It was safer than most cars teen girls wanted, so I agreed. Marissa and Darcy were popular at school and often had friends over. I later realized Marissa's choice was influenced by Shauna, who drove a similar vehicle when she was younger. Darcy bounced up to me. "Dad, guess what? Shauna wants to take us camping. Star is coming too. Can we go?" she asked excitedly. I was surprised. Darcy was very girly, and I couldn't see her camping. Shauna grinned. "I haven't seen you in almost 2 years, and now you want to kidnap my children?" I teased. Her grin grew wider. "You can come too. I'll need help with 9 girls aged 10 to 16, Shauna replied. "You'll have them organized like boot camp. I don't think you'll have any issues," I said, imagining the scene. "Come with us, Daddy. We'll need someone to carry stuff and cook. You don't expect us to do it, do you?" Marissa smirked. "All right, make plans. I have a lot of vacation time to use. Bringing that white string bikini, Shauna?" I asked playfully. Shauna blushed. "Not this trip. It'll be more PG. I don't want the girls seeing you perving on me all weekend," she shot back. My turn to blush. "Set it up. I'll try not to perv around my daughters," I said. They giggled as I ordered pizza and they browsed camping gear online. I had a feeling this would cost me a lot. Shauna visited often before the trip to check their gear. She made them practice setting up and taking down the tents until they could do it blindfolded. Star often joined, showing her parents' smarts and her mom's looks. I hadn't talked to Charlie in months. She had several men over, always sending the girls to me on those nights. I thought she wasn't a great role model, but the girls seemed level-headed. One day Charlie called, wanting to talk about the girls, which worried me. I met her at her door, and she got straight to the point. "Stop poisoning my girls against me. I'm sick of hearing about Shauna. If you're with her, keep it away from my girls," she demanded, her tone sharp. It took a moment to calm down. I laughed. "This from a woman with multiple lovers recently. Do you think the girls believe you're just playing backgammon all night? You're a hypocrite, Charlie. By the way, I'm not with Shauna, but even if I were, it's not your concern. I've stayed out of your business, so stay out of mine. You look terrible. Get back to the gym, do your hair, and take care of yourself for the girls' sake. Anything else? Have a great day and leave me alone." I left her shocked and in tears, and just then, Shauna drove up. I surprised her by grabbing her and giving her a hard kiss. She was initially shocked, but soon she pressed against me, her tongue halfway down my throat. We broke apart to the sound of clapping from the girls and a slamming door from Charlie. It was amusing to see Miss Super in Control blush. "Why did you do that?" Shauna asked. "Because I've always wanted to, and it exceeded every fantasy. Plus, I wanted to shock someone, and I'd like to try it again to make sure it wasn't a one-off." Ize air mattress with 2 sleeping bags zipped together. "I sleep on the left side," she said, turning off the lantern. I heard her dress hit the floor and realized she was only wearing tiny white bikini lingerie. She slid in and threw the covers back. "You coming?" I didn't hesitate, dropping my shorts and sliding in beside her in my boxers. She gave me a quick kiss, turned over, and spooned into me, dragging my arm over her tummy. She fell asleep instantly, while it took me a while to calm down and eventually sleep. I woke up to giggling, still spooned to her. Shauna sighed, arching back into me while keeping my hand in place. She reached down and grabbed my morning wood. If we were alone, I'd have ways to deflate that. But surrounded by young girls, you're on your own. But hurry up. I can hear stomachs rumbling. We need to make breakfast. A few minutes later, Darcy showed me the primitive bathroom just behind the tree line. It was basic but adequate, and Shauna had wisely brought a large container of water and sanitizing soap. Though I was good on a grill, Shauna took over breakfast, assigning tasks to the older girls. Soon, the aroma of frying sausage filled the air while I chopped peppers, onions, and ham for omelets. Shauna used a huge cast-iron pan to make the best buckwheat blueberry pancakes I'd ever tasted. After we ate, Shauna had everyone clean up, wash dishes, pick up trash, and pack away utensils and food until the site looked untouched. She then led the girls to the lake to fish. With plenty of small bream in the cove, everyone caught something. We took endless pictures, and the girls declared, "We're going to Academy or Dick's soon." We relaxed until nearly lunch, then drove back to the marina. Shauna had them wear sneakers and cover their swimsuits with "Shauna kissed me," and I left a hickey on her neck. I followed the giggling girls inside, started the grill, and Later had a makeout session with Shauna. She teased me by grabbing my shorts and said, "Nice," before leaving, pausing to warn me not to run now that she knew I wanted her. I reassured her by picking her up, kissing her, and swatting her bum. Inside, the girls teased me about the situation. I told them I was unsure where it was going, and they hummed the wedding march all week. I double-checked everything on Shauna's list, wondering how this planning could be fun. Shauna had Star and 2 friends in her 4-wheel drive. Marissa had her friends, plus Darcy and her buddies in hers, and I drove a company truck loaded with gear. Shauna said it took 4 hours to get there, but it was worth it. We were isolated, with a 30-minute drive to the bathhouses. Shauna took charge, setting up 4 tents. I organized food into bear-proof containers and locked coolers in vehicles at night. Shauna sprayed bear repellent around the site. I set up the charcoal grill, and by lunchtime we were ready. Lunch was cold cuts and sodas, with the girls giggling and eyeing the lake in their bathing suits. I went to the marina, got keys to a large pontoon boat, and took an hour of instruction. The boat was perfect for 9 girls and 2 adults. When I returned, everyone was sunbathing. Watching my girls, I realized how fast they were growing up. Shauna, lying on her stomach in a string bikini, asked me to put lotion on her back. Her skin was soft, and I did her back, but she asked for more. "I'd love to, but we have an audience," I said. Seeing the girls watching, she sighed and tied her top. I decided a dip in the lake was needed. Shauna smirked, and Marissa and her friends grinned as I dove into the water. I cooked while they played. Shauna brought games that required physical activity, and the girls ran and screamed until exhausted. After dinner, we took them to the bathhouses. I showered and then waited while 10 females went through their bedtime rituals. They were nodding off, and we almost had to carry some to the tents. Star kissed me goodnight and called me Uncle Jack, and the other girls followed suit, calling Shauna Aunt Shauna. We expected them to stay up, but they were out in 30 minutes, each tent with a snore. Shauna and I walked to the lake, enjoying the quiet. I had brought a couple of bottles of wine, and we shared one, drinking from plastic cups. Shauna nodded off after half a cup. She was too heavy to carry, so I gently shook her, but she didn't respond. I leaned in to whisper in her ear without waking the girls, but I couldn't resist nibbling her neck and kissing down to her shoulder blades. She moaned softly and shifted. Then she turned her head and kissed me slowly. Pulling back, she smiled and stroked my cheek. "You can wake me up like that any time, honey. Now, help me up. The girls will have us up at dawn." She held my hand as we walked back to the tent. I hesitated when I saw only one tent, and she tugged gently. "It's just for sleep, Jack. I'm vocal when I get started and don't want to damage 9 young minds. Now, come on." Inside, there was a queen shorts and teas. They thought it was for lunch at the Marina restaurant. For lunch, they served Italian cuisine. Spaghetti, ravioli, meatballs, and other dishes. Little girls could really eat a lot. We had them walk down to the piers to admire the boats. There were squeals of excitement when they realized the big boat was for them. They ran on board, groaning when Shauna made them put on life vests. "We have a student driver," she said, grinning at me. "Best not to take any chances." We moved slowly until everyone felt comfortable. The jackets and clothes came off, revealing swimsuits. The older girls got a lot of attention from passing boaters. We anchored in a cove, and I uncovered the boat's best feature, a sliding board that launched you into the water, kept wet by a small pump. Soon, kids were going down 2 at a time, screaming as they flew into the air. One little girl hung back because she couldn't swim. The others offered to stop, showing surprising maturity for their age. But Shauna saved the day by getting her a life vest and going down the slide with her. Shauna and Vicky climbed the ladder and went down together. I don't know who screamed louder, Shauna or Vicky. The cove was shallow with a small beach, and we bumped the shore. When they got tired, we tied the boat, gathered firewood, and brought out the cooler. Soon they were roasting wieners and marshmallows, sipping sodas. Shauna talked to Vicky quietly, and soon Vicky was dog-paddling by me. Later we sat on the boat with our feet dangling over the side. I gave Shauna a soft kiss on the cheek, and her smile lit up the twilight. "What was that for?" Shauna asked, her eyes sparkling. "For helping Vicky. You're going to be a great mother," I said sincerely. Tears filled her eyes, and she dove into the cove, looking out at the channel. When she came back, we cleaned up and motored slowly back to the dock. "Did I hurt your feelings?" "If I did, I'm sorry," I said, concerned. She brushed my cheek, smiling tenderly. You didn't say anything wrong. You just gave me a compliment no one ever has before. I didn't know how to process it, she admitted softly. She leaned against me on the way back, holding my arm. I couldn't remember the last time I felt so content. The kids moaned when we returned until we told them we had the boat for 3 more days. They were still excited as we stopped for showers on the way back to camp. The girls made a light dinner and insisted Shauna and I relax. We sat in camp chairs while Shauna talked about her new job as part owner of a security service with fellow veterans. She found the erratic hours and travel challenging. I told her I sold my company, which surprised her. I explained it started as a favor for friends and I didn't enjoy it much. I just wanted to provide for my family. Shauna held my hand and shared her past, revealing that her ex-husband left her for a friend who was pregnant. I was shocked since she hadn't mentioned it before. We relaxed until dinner was served, then washed up while the girls sang around the fire. The next few days we enjoyed the pontoon, and the girls wanted one for their birthday. Shauna and I shared a bed for 3 more nights. On the last day, the girls were so tired they fell asleep right after dinner. Shauna invited me to bed, saying, "Come to bed and I'll let you finish the massage." We had a tender, quiet night together. I fell asleep realizing I was the happiest I'd been in a long time. The next morning, the girls woke us up. After a kiss, we dressed and faced the day. The girls had knowing grins, and I enjoyed seeing Shauna blush. We packed up, left the campsite better than we found it, and headed home with lasting memories. Marissa drove Shauna's SUV, another girl drove mine, and Shauna rode with me. We held hands in silence until Shauna finally spoke. "I've thought about this a lot. You will love me, marry me, and give me more children. We'll spend our lives together. If you object, I'll leave and never come back. By the way, I love you. What do you think?" I replied, "Let's get a ring tomorrow and start house hunting." "Shauna Hunter, will you marry me?" She was silent for a moment, then texted someone and told me to pull over. Marissa's Jeep pulled over quickly, and Shauna jumped out to give me the most satisfying kiss of my life. Marissa captured the moment on her phone as 9 girls danced and screamed around us. Success. Well done, troops. I looked at her, and she grinned, blushing. "Oops, you weren't supposed to see that," she said, hugging me again. I sighed as I shut down my computer, thinking, I turned 60 today, my last day of work. I'm retiring. I've made enough money. It's time. Darcy excelled in math and business, so after earning her MBA, she joined Harry's company. 3 years ago, she became CEO of a global operation. Marissa followed my path, earning an engineering degree in bridge building, traveling the world. She found a life partner, and they adopted 2 little girls, my only grandchildren so far. Darcy was still married to her job, but seemed close to an engineer she met through her sister. My musings were interrupted when my wife came in with our twin daughters. They were graduating high school soon and had chosen different colleges, eager to live independently. Shauna was right about us making beautiful children. She retired from the field when we married and took over managing her company before selling her share. She trained others while pregnant. Our company remained a major client, with Carrie's empire growing significantly. Shauna helped me pack up my desk, pausing at a wedding photo with her bridal party. June was matron of honor, and there were 9 bridesmaids, all in elegant gowns and combat boots, holding a sign that read, "Operation Successful." We were retiring to our lake house, the same lake we camped at years ago. We had 2 huge pontoons and a speedboat, and the kids from that trip often visited with their families, reminiscing about the operation at the lake. Privacy would be scarce, but that was fine. As for Charlie, she got the house, though she wasn't happy about it. She eventually realized her complaints fell on deaf ears. Shauna bought a house nearby for $500,000, which was featured in a magazine, with a pool and hot tub that we enjoyed immensely. Custody wasn't an issue since the girls could walk between houses, though they mostly stayed with us, especially after their sisters were born. Charlie remarried twice. The first marriage ended after 2 years due to infidelity, but she had a prenup. Brenda and Barb even offered her ex a job for fun. Her second marriage is an open arrangement, and they use the basement as a playroom. We see her occasionally, and she doesn't speak, still holding a grudge. Time hasn't been kind to her. She still prefers indulgence over the gym. "Dad, hurry up. If we start now, we can still get an hour or 2 on the lake." I grinned, picked up my box, and walked out with my family to start the best part of my life.